This was like the first time ever I was seeing somebody allergic to crayfish.
Lola, move forward now. Your legs are not touching the ground.
My legs are not. Whoa! Have you taken a look at your background?
I don't know how the setting is arranged.
Have you taken a look at your background? Are you visible?
I think basically I think I'm visible. I trust the men behind the cameras. To do a fantastic
so sexist
job.
though. Men,
but it's just
you trust
that,
the men. It's only men you trust.
Well, it's just that I want you to seem very comfortable, which is why I'm asking you to.
Do I look uncomfortable? Really? Like, do I really look uncomfortable?
I care because I do care.
Oh, really?
Yes, I really care.
Oh, wow, care.
Care, not care. Right? Well, it is on this note that we welcome you to the LHC pod. How are you doing today? And to our amazing viewers out there, we see your comments, we see everything that you put on the platform. And we appreciate you week in, week out for the wonderful things that you're doing and how you're supporting this channel. Right?
Yes.
We're here again today and we have something very amazing. And the good thing is I have a partner in the house, right? Basically, partner. So
you have a partner. When did you ever have a partner?
We're doing the Emmanuel thing today.
Oh, right. So it's Emmanuel squared. Interesting.
Yes. Just before we get started, Lola, how are you? Let me ask.
I'm fine.
You look very tired.
I look tired.
Yes.
Should I tell you how you look, though? But I'm fine. Of course, it's been busy. Life has been busy and everything. But yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
How are you?
Very well. Crisscrossing the country.
Interesting. Whoa, look at that.
And we have to do what we have to do to get the bills paid. At the end of the day.
Yes.
Yes, on this note, what do you have for us?
Well, speaking about bills, one of the things that pays your bills is, when you have energy, when you have enough stamina and you can do your things and you can't get that without what? Eating. So I'll ask you, have you eaten today?
Very well. I've eaten. Maybe we need to bring our guest on board so that we can ask him as well.
Oh, wow. Feeling scared already? Okay. So we have someone that is an expert in the subject of food, actually.
That was mildly gracious, but okay, I'll take it.
Yes, a very interesting way of introducing. So we have Emmanuel with us today. Welcome, Emmanuel.
And you know that we cannot, because we have Emmanuel raised to the power of 2,
yes.
You'd better watch your mouth.
Oh, wow.
Please, I don't subscribe to that narrative.
You caught that, right?
Yeah.
Let's just leave it like
Emmanuel,
that.
welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm good.
It's
great to be here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Good to have you.
I will ask you again, have you eaten?
That question is subjective because you have to phrase it into time of day or by the calendar, whether we are doing the 010, 001.
Oh, really?
Wow.
But let's not go into that.
How would you, naturally, how do you space your eating?
For starters, I'm not a breakfast person. Usually I need to get some calories burnt so that I can replenish.
Oh, wow.
It's probably the reason why I stay in shape because I don't work out as much as I should.
Oh, wow.
Emmanuel chop knuckle.
So welcome to the
So I think that it is the Emmanuel thing.
Breakfast. It is an Emmanuel thing.
It is the Emmanuel thing, and that is why we are trim, we're slim, and then we're fit. And
this is why I'm avoiding Emmanuel's.
What?
We're slim and trim, and it's the same thing with me because again, my first meal for the day usually is between 12, 1 and 2.
I can't even call that a meal, but okay, carry on.
And it's and sometimes we just naturally do the fast.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds like intermittent fasting.
Yeah, the
fast.
intermittent fast and everything.
Yeah, because you look like you need more food actually. But okay, let's carry on.
All right, so we'll go on a short break and then we would tell you what we're going to be discussing today.
Welcome back. So today we're taking a very interesting topic, and this is talking about owning your food preferences without apology.
Whoa!
Without apology.
Emmanuel, what do you like to eat?
This question is as interesting as the topic itself.
Right.
Exactly.
Because food preferences, as we know them, they don't come in once. And usually, from the topic alone, we could see that there are a series of things that now come into play.
Okay.
In fact, I'll begin by saying something about food generally and what people eat. Because if you begin to look at the nitty-gritty, you might be put off.
Yeah.
So this should actually be couched as we see, we listen, we don't
We don't
judge.
judge. Yeah.
Because I
Right?
mean, if you travel a lot, even within Nigeria, you could go to a series of places. Like for example, I've been to I think Edo State,
Oh, nice.
and I had banga soup and starch. It's a staple.
Sounds
It's a
yummy.
staple. It's a meal people go gaga for.
Yeah,
But I didn't understand it first. If I say this, people will come for me.
they will.
You understand?
Rest
They are
assured.
unapologetic about their meals, and that's fine. That is why we are here. So back to your question about
What do you like?
what
to eat?
I like to eat. I like
Yes.
food. I like food.
Wow.
Like clear
But that
cut.
sounds generic. Like, can you narrow that down? What kind of food appeals to you? So if we say this is Emmanuel and this is Emmanuel's taste in food,
Okay, I think from as far back as I can remember, I think I've always referred to myself as a food daredevil.
oh wow.
So
Okay.
when I go to your village, when I travel somewhere else, provided I see people eat a certain meal, I go in. Like I have pretty much no cultural restraints,
Oh wow.
no religious restraint as well. So like it's full carpet for me.
Interesting.
It's
That's
full carpet for
interesting.
me.
I think that Lola, what are the kind of meals you love to eat?
Wow.
We
I'm very
listen,
adventurous.
We listen, we don't judge.
Definitely not judging for this one, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, for me, I'm very adventurous when it comes to food. I eat food from practically everywhere, so long as it tastes nice. Something that is subjective, because what tastes nice to A may not taste nice to B. But I like to, and usually when I am out of my usual space, like traveling or in another locale or whatever, I try the foods there. And even within town, there are different restaurants for different nationalities. So sometimes I like to just say, oh, let's do Thai this weekend, or next weekend is Mexican or Jamaican or wherever. So Ghanaian, name it. So I'm very adventurous when it comes to food. And unlike some people, my feeding starts in the morning. Just putting that out there.
Okay, I think for me, I'm a bit selective because my stomach doesn't give allowance just for anything and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, that is where I'm a bit different from both of
From
you.
the rest of
at
us.
least, for the first time. And I'm particular about what I eat. I
Okay.
think that I love African dishes. I love African dishes, but I'd also like to explore. But I'm usually very careful because, again, you can tell me that, oh, this is nice, and I taste it. It might not sit well with my stomach, tummy, and I can begin to react as a result of that. But hey, these are food preferences, right? And then sometimes you taste certain things, you taste some meals, and you don't just like how they taste, right? And sometimes you may want to just spit it out and never taste it. But some other persons, again, at the end of the day,
Yes.
find it very delicious, tasty, they love it,
Yes.
and then they eat it at the end of the day.
I'm thinking of
It might
something.
interest you to know that recently I tasted one meal. I'm not going to mention.
Nigerian or
Mention now,
continental?
so that I can
and I
get
don't
dragged.
want to. There's a reason
No, you
why I
have
don't
to. You
want,
have to. You have
want to
to
mention
streamline
the
it
country.
at least so that we
No,
can.
there's a reason why I don't want to mention the country,
Okay.
right? Because they're likely going to see it, and again, we sit in the same office space
Oh,
together.
okay,
and
so I think they
everything.
already have an idea.
So we had lunch together,
Okay.
but I'd had to force myself to be among them and not to feel, because again, I was near tasteless.
Oh wow. So
Right? But I had to, because the occasion we're all together, and
Okay.
then we just have to take the lunch together. And we did eat
Okay.
at the end of the day, but I really didn't find it very comforting to have had that that
meal.
Yeah. Does it happen to you? Have you found yourself in such
Honestly, no.
situation? Okay.
No. I've never been in a situation, and I'm saying that as honestly as possible. I haven't had a situation where I'd had to eat with people and have to take something different or avoid the meal altogether, because I feel I would actually in such situations put the etiquette over my preferences, to be very honest.
Even at your own discomfort?
But that's the point. It's not discomfort for me because I'm
Exactly.
already adventurous with food. So I don't find it, in fact, it's for me more of an adventure. You know, you're just going somewhere and you're like, oh, whatever I see here, let's see, let's explore. So I'm usually curious about stuff like that. And always I ask people around, what's inside this, what's this and that. So that gives me an idea of what to expect in terms of the meal. So how does it work for you, Emmanuel?
Well, meals generally, from a cultural, historical, and in fact a broad sense, they have the power to forge a society, if I could say so.
Absolutely.
Because I'll give you an instance. Christopher Columbus, we all know Christopher Columbus, the great explorer, the voyager. The major motivating factor he had to leave his home country to look for, well, East Asia was because they needed, first off, spices. And it's because their meals were typically bland. Now, for those that have traveled, yes, they'll tell you it's almost like a taboo when you go to Italy, for example, to season your pasta extra.
Actually.
Yes, it's like
You
a
know
thing.
your food.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a thing. So
That
in
is
his
so
case,
true. Yes.
just the pure urge to look for spices got him to explore, and he accidentally stumbled on the Americas.
Oh.
Yes. So, I mean, with the
Okay.
whole going into history, he miscalculated the distance. He was set off course. And in his mind, he arrived at Asia. But where he arrived at was the Americas. So you see how that in itself is just, it's a way of life. If you think of some meals, if you think of like how some meals come into existence, I want to believe that whichever country, you know, we've been having the jollof wars.
Yeah.
But whichever country finally found, or whichever chef
Yes.
coined or found out or invented, if I may,
Yes.
jollof rice, I feel it was purely accidental. It could have just been a lazy mix to everything. But still staying on topic, I would say this. Unlike my my namesake here, I have, first off, a cast iron stomach. Nothing upsets me. Absolutely nothing
I'll
upsets
turn
me.
to chop knuckle.
Nothing upsets me. And also, like you said,
Yes.
I don't put myself in a position where I feel the meal is not so palatable.
Exactly.
Yes, so I usually stick with safe options, especially when I am lost for choice. Yes, I stick with safe options. But still, I could venture into having to engage in like other meals, continental, local. But from looking at it, just because of my own standpoint and how this is to me, from looking at a meal, from looking at the composition, you could have an idea, a vague sense of what it tastes like. And that's, I mean, it's just knowing your spices pretty much. Like if you see hummus, for example, you know that at least there's the dough, you know there's the sauce, you know how everything is, you know there's the dipping sauce and everything.
yes.
You have an idea. In fact, from the aroma, you can pick that, okay,
can pick,
this
yes,
is, there's high content of garlic here, there's maybe little vinegar here. You can just pick. So from that, I can make an informed decision about any meal I'm going to have, whether in a streamlined setting or in a broader sense.
Sometimes we've taken some meals, right?
Yeah.
And we find ourselves in situations where people are judging what you are eating at a particular point in time. The question is, how did you take the reaction of the people who were either questioning, judging, or just saying, you know, all sort of things to you? How did you take that?
Well, at that particular point in time, it's a meal. There's a selfishness that has to come with meals. Yeah, it's my meal and I own it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's just some mutual respect you just have to have, especially like maybe in a different setting. But I think
Yeah,
we'll
but
talk
I
about
think
that
that the point is mutual respect, right?
later. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, there's that angle that we're going to go into. But I mean, I've been having at a retreat, a company retreat a
Okay.
while back.
Yeah.
Everybody ordered the regular, give me a fang, give me swallow, give me this, give me that. And to be honest, I ordered mashed potato and lamb chops.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
And everybody was looking at me like,
That is giving though.
why are you eating? Like, everybody was looking at me like, is this semo? And I'm like, no, it's mashed potatoes.
Funny enough, yeah.
See,
Yeah.
it was more annoying because the lamb wasn't tender. So I was struggling. So everybody was like, if you had known, say you would have eaten the jollof with the rest of us. But I mean, I didn't mind because that was what I wanted to have at the time. So in situations like that, yeah, it has happened so many times. I mean, take myself back to university where I'm trying to balance my nutritional value and what is feeling so that I can attend 8 hours stretch of lecture. So
Right.
I'm having bread and pap and my neighbor walks in and he's like, what are you doing? Won't you get constipated? And I'm like, guy, just do what you have to do and leave this place already. You get? So yeah, I mean, people
Yes.
have that reaction to whatever you're eating, or
Should they have the reaction though?
it's okay. To me, I feel it's okay because to a certain degree, let's be honest, there are some meals we see that we're like, okay, this is a combination. I wouldn't try it, but I'm happy. Like, it's good for
Like
you.
bread and okra, right?
So yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a similar situation to yours too. You know, hanging out with colleagues, and we welcome colleagues from outside the country, and everyone goes somewhere to eat, and then I'm the only one ordering something continental, apart from the foreigners, of course.
Yeah.
And every other person is ordering Nigerian stuff, and they are wondering, looking at you like, hello. Someone was even asking, what's that? And that day, I think I had mashed potatoes, mushroom soup. In fact, let me make it even more interesting. So the waiter who served the meal, of course, noticed that I was a local. And she was like, oh, are you sure you can eat this? This is mushroom soup. I'm like, just serve the thing.
Wow.
Don't give me that. I know what I'm asking for. Rude, right?
Rude much.
But she, to her mind, okay, I knew it wasn't coming from a place of malice. It was probably coming from a place of, maybe this person doesn't know. But I'm
Yeah.
like, look, I know what I'm ordering. So it's, to your point, people always have this urge to judge you for the choices that you make when it comes to food. And I don't feel it's something to be offended by. It's just the way we are. You know, human nature wants to be curious and sort of ask you when you're going against the norm.
I think
Yes.
that for me, it is not in the asking. It is the comments that comes with the asking. If you're asking for the purpose of wanting to know
Yeah.
what I'm eating, or you're curious, it's understandable.
Has that happened to you?
I don't think so,
Okay.
right? Because
Really?
I live
that's
by
odd.
I live by a mantra: eat what you know and know what you eat.
So you play it safe. They will ask you now.
Yes, again,
because you're playing it
yes,
safe.
Play it too safe.
Exactly.
like I said, I play it safe because I know myself and I know my tummy, and I know my
Fair.
reactions to things. So I go by the mantra: know what you eat and eat what you know.
Man, that's too safe for
Right?
my liking.
That's too
Just
safe.
too safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
So you
Too
have
safe.
that. And I do think that, again, you have situations where people, the comments, either derogatory, comments that they make when they realize what you are eating, it's what I was trying to find out,
Okay.
basically, by basically asking that question, is people make comments that sometimes could be offensive without even understanding the culture behind the particular meal that you are eating.
course.
And day in, day out, we open our phones, we go to the internet, and you see people's comments. You hear people talk nasty things about people's meal without even understanding the context and the cultural heritage that encapsulates whatever it is that they are eating, right? And I think that, and it's the reason why we curated this topic to have this
Yeah.
conversation,
Yeah.
just so that people understand that when you see people eat certain things, respect them for their food choices and preferences, right? Yeah, basically
Yeah.
that's that for me.
So let me come in at that point. You know, talking to respect. It's actually both ways.
Yeah.
So one common etiquette that I know most people don't know is if you go somewhere and your host offers you something that you're not familiar with, the respectful thing is to try it out. Most people don't do that. Most people will say, I'm sticking to what I know. Do you have this? I've seen it play out so many times. It's offensive, but a lot of people don't know that. In fact, some people even say, who made that rule? I can eat what I like. But it's poor etiquette, actually.
In such situation,
Yes.
again, I'm going to speak from my own point, and it's good that I'm a bit slightly different from you guys, right?
Yes.
For me, I won't decline the meal, right? But I'm going to have a taste to show good faith, right? But I'm not going to force myself to consume the portion.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not going to force myself to consume the portion, because if I do that, I might likely harm myself.
Facts.
Which again, I then have to tend and take care of myself at the end of the day, at the expense of trying to play it safe or make somebody look feel comfortable. I think in my situation is I'm going to have a taste and maybe 1-2 spoons, but I might not go the mile of maybe consuming an entire portion or something like that.
So let me clarify. When I say etiquette, obviously if you have dietary issues or health concerns, I'm not implying in any form that you must force yourself, and what you do is even more of the respectful thing than declining outright and saying I'm not going to.
So the point is,
so you can even just indulge a bit, but say,
okay,
this is my limit, I can't do more than this, is fine. I mean, that's still socially acceptable, but the point I'm making is the people who even go outright and say, no, I don't know this thing, I'm not even going to try it and all that. So, but I'm not saying if there are health issues or dietary constraints that you must force yourself. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but if I would say something here, I would say pretty much a measure of what both of you have said.
Okay.
In a case where I'll cast my mind, or collectively our minds, to a situation in university, a friend of mine, this was like the first time ever I was seeing somebody allergic to crayfish.
Oh, wow.
If he had a meal, if he was in a 2-meter radius of crayfish, his ears will swell up. I didn't understand the logic behind that. So, again, the concept of meals is, like I said, is fundamentally an essential part of life. Because when we're listing the basic necessities of man, food is high up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have food, shelter, and clothing.
Yes.
Okay. So in cases like that, I want to just say that having a merger, yes, the mutual respect would come in. The mutual respect would come in where, in harming you, in your case, you might most likely harm yourself by going into it. That's having allergic reactions or whatnot. It might be a breach of etiquette, not particularly indulging, but high and by, just do what works for you. Like, pretty much just do it. Like, there's a way you can communicate with your host and say, okay, see, for so and so reasons, I cannot particularly indulge in said meals. You understand? And there's also the part where, I mean, it's still your choice to make at the end of the day. So you could peg it like that.
Again, there's another point that I'd like to raise, which is that we need to look at things from. I have seen that people's meal face societal stigma. I have seen that, right? For example, I know in Ghana they eat banku. In Nigeria,
banku.
which is very close to Nigeria's fufu, right? And by the way, when you're presented with fufu, what's usually your reaction?
No, don't shade fufu. I know where this is going.
I want to. So I'm trying to
It's a
establish
smelly
something,
meal,
right?
but everybody thinks it's a smelly
Justice
meal.
for fufu.
But particularly, I don't think it is.
Okay, but everybody thinks it's
Justice for fufu.
That is the stigmatization. So I was trying to establish, just so that our viewers can fully understand what I'm trying to point. So meals face stigmatization. Why is that so? And why is it prevalent? Why do people really think that their meals are better off? We've been having the Jollof war with Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone,
Senegal, where it
Senegal.
came from.
Yes.
Cameroon, and
Yes.
we don't even know where it came from.
We know it came from Senegal.
I
We
don't know that.
No, it's an established fact.
And there's no, I'm not. Who
It's an established
documented-
fact.
Who documented
Google
that?
it.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
practically grew up with jollof rice,
Yeah.
right? And rice itself. So when you say jollof rice is Senegalese, it originated or it started from there. I'm questioning myself. Did rice start from Senegal?
No, we're
So-
looking
so
at the
anybody-
cuisine. Yes.
You understand? So anybody who has access to rice can decide the kind of recipe they are
He
going
wants
to
to.
use to prepare their rice.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah.
For you to say jollof rice is particular to either the Senegalese, Ghanaians, Cameroonians, or Nigeria. Okay, for me, I don't think that it really makes sense because the recipe itself differs from person to person and then country to country and state. How would 2 weeks ago I was craving for, would I call it jollof rice or native rice with just palm oil? Seriously craving for that.
Okay.
Right? So these are the situations.
I am definitely judging.
You understand?
But carry on.
These are the situations. Why do people
Yes.
stigmatize
Yeah.
people's meal
Okay.
of the food?
If I would
preferences?
jump in here, I think it's because people are not they are not lectured enough. And when I say lectured enough, I'm going back into what you said about having a meal and somebody coming for you and it's like, why are you eating this? Like, what kind of combination is that? To be honest, 63% of the time is from a position of curiosity. But because they don't know how to phrase it, what usually happens, and just hear me out, what usually happens in that setting is, what are you eating like this? Let me even taste it. This thing is nice. Oh,
Exactly.
okay, let me take some parts more of it.
Exactly.
It happened with a guest I had. That day I was feeling very lazy. So what I did was shepherd's pie. I just whipped out cheese, whipped out the potato, did
Are
everything.
you serious?
Yes.
You know how to make shepherd's
Yes, so I made,
Okay,
yeah,
let me calm down.
so I made shepherd's pie, and when they came, they were like, what's this? I'm like, it's shepherd's pie. It's like the easiest thing I could whip up. And they were like, are you sure we like it? There's no rice. You know how friends could be friends could be
Yes.
annoyed. They're like, there's
I
no
know.
rice. I said, please just eat this one. I beg. I even have
Yes.
something. And they had it. To be honest, the whole pan was emptied even before I could finish
Amazing.
what I was doing.
Amazing.
You get so
Amazing.
why people come for it's from a position of not having the understanding. And when you say something about the location of meals and how they are curated, I don't want to streamline it to that, because take for example, if you say fried rice is originated in Asia, if you move that to maybe an area that doesn't have soy sauce originally, or maybe oyster sauce or sesame oil, for example, that is used to create the typical Chinese fried rice, what they would have is banga oil or something. So
Yes.
the evolution of meals generally, like, it's a societal thing. There's just the way it fuses with us as a people, where okay, I don't have sesame oil, but I have banga oil. I'll do it. Let's see how it comes out. Boom, you've made native rice of some sort. It's experimental, yet it just, I mean, most great inventions were stumbled on by error.
Absolutely.
By error. I mean,
Absolutely.
we'll go into the microwave, we'll go into a whole lot of other things.
Oh
but
yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I mean,
So
personally,
much
I've
like
cooked
that.
up things that
Like,
came from existing things.
yeah, you just
Yes.
know what you want to taste. Then you know a substitute. Take for example, you are making that same fried rice.
Yes.
You know you don't have maybe you want to use carrots, for example. You don't have carrots, but since you have a wide range, you could say, okay, I could use beetroot because it tastes like carrots, but it
Yes.
will alter the color of the meal. Boom,
Yes.
you have something there. You
Exactly.
understand? There's just a way around it. It's that evolution that we have to just embrace pretty much.
We've had pushbacks
Okay.
sometimes when people. We've had pushbacks, right? Sometimes when people say, "Oh, this is what I prefer," and so others say, "You're just eating trash," and I'll go take us again, right? So we have people who are vegetarians. They want to stick with that, and we have others who are meaty, flesh. They want to eat that.
Yeah.
As well, right? So why are there back and forth between a set of people from the others? Why are we not accommodating enough as a people? Why the condemning, shaming, and all of the world? So basically, I love to eat meat. Let me stay with my choice. I'm a vegetarian. Let whoever the person is stay with their choice. Why do we as humans always feel that mine, because I do this, it is better than the other person?
Because it's human nature to prefer your own things and to see your own preferences as the standard.
Yeah. So my point is, it's a standard, right? Stick with it.
No.
Stick with it.
So that's the point. It's not a standard. These dietary differences exist for a reason. For some, it's health related. For some, it's based on religion. And for some, it's just personal preference. Yeah. So I wouldn't knock someone who says they are vegan, for example.
No, but people do. And which is the conversation that I'd like us to have here, right?
So why do people do that?
Why do people do that?
Pretty much is that mutual respect that they lack. Pretty much. Because who are you to criticize a meal I'm eating? I'm eating the meal.
Exactly.
I mean, I've followed all the principles of meals and how they should be made. I like my meals cooked, or I like my veggies salted. However, it's a meal that is on my plate. And at the beginning, at the point, you said something about food critics. Yeah, food critics now.
That was behind the scene.
Yes.
Oh yes.
No, but we're going to bring that up.
Yes.
Yeah. So like food critics, for example, a good percentage of them do not know how to cook.
Right.
A good percentage of them do not. But they know, they've schooled their palate in a way that they see a meal and they know what they should taste for. Bringing it back to this concept that you said, okay, some people are vegan, some people are meat lovers, but there's a clash somewhere. Vegans will come out and hold posters and say, okay, stop killing animals. I saw a meme. It was very funny, where they put like a hair of grass. It was cartooned, and it was like a caricature. So they put like hair of grass, like fresh grass somewhere. Then they put somebody eating chicken. So somebody was eating the grass and saying, "I love animals." Then the other person was eating the chicken and saying, "I love animals."
Oh wow!
So it's the same saying, but like different meaning. People have also said, "Oh, okay, you're vegetarian, but why do you keep eating food that is meant for the animals?" You get, it's just that cultural bias, it's just that banter, that generation-wide, lifelong banter we're going to have. And it's, like she said, human nature. Human nature is designed to fight what they do not understand, practically. So I personally may not understand why someone would rather eat vegetables over meat, and vice versa. But where the mutual respect comes in is where I hold my opinions to myself. I would not fight you. I don't understand it. And this can be cascaded into some other facets of life. You don't understand it. There's no point antagonizing it. Just let it be. This is somebody's preference, no wahala. Just let it be there like that. But when it becomes an issue, like we're discussing today, is when you want to rub it in my face that my meals are trashy. Like, an instance happened one time. We had a guest over, and my sister, she was having kidney beans. She loves kidney beans. And the first thing out of his mouth was, "You're eating horse food."
What?
Like, I think I was 9 at the time, and I got so upset. I was livid.
Wow.
I was livid. I'm like, first off, how dare you? Secondly, like, you're a guest. Like, okay, there are ways you could have communicated your sense of concern
more
politely, but in his mind that was probably banter. I mean,
is that an issue though?
I mean, that's why we're here. It's an issue because she felt offended.
Exactly.
Yes, so that's where it becomes an issue. If he had said it to me, like maybe me now, I'm more tolerating of something like that. I'll be like, if he says, "You're eating horse food," I'm like, "Yeah, the horse got tired," and I banter over it. I banter over it, and we're good.
Exactly.
But some people, I mean, it's food. You've heard the saying, "A hungry man is an angry man."
He's an angry man.
You don't pair those two, and we have the coined word, which is hungry. I'm hungry and I'm angry. So over hungry, you get. So those two don't really go in. I mean, we can go into history. We can see how I think there was a civil unrest in an African country because of bread. I can't really remember. Yes. Because of bread, I can't really remember the ingredients. Where I think there was a protest. The citizens wanted their bread back or something like that because price of bread was going high. And I think the leader at the time just said, "Oh, they should eat cake if there's no bread." Flat out World War. Italians will fight you if you break their pasta.
Yes, like
they will fight you.
Breaking spaghetti, like some people, but we ain't judging.
I mean, yes, we won't judge, but I mean, there's the evolution to it, and that's why, like you said, it can move from place to place and maintain some uniqueness of what it used to be or what it is, but it has the touch of that location. Take for example, pizza flavor, that suya flavor. It's not originally a pizza flavor. It was just invented.
Actually, true.
Yeah. So somebody just said, okay, I don't have pepperoni. Let me sprinkle suya on top. Boom.
And then
Pizza.
brought something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I think that again, the whole the topic was carefully curated, right? And the essence is to bring enlightenment to people who are watching, especially. It's good to banter, to say my meal or my jollof is better than the other, right? But again, our respect and tolerance for one another is also very key and
It's
very,
important.
very, very important. And which is why we're having this conversation. So the jollof wars can continue, but it should remain as banter between Nigeria, Senegal, Cameroon, and Ghana, right? Yeah. So it is that. But again, let's look at these from this perspective. While you were talking, I know from the behind the scene, we're talking about food. Is it food tasters?
Food critics.
Food critics.
Food critics and everything.
Yes.
One thing that baffles me about these guys who move from restaurant to restaurant or who are making a living out of critiquing food is that I have come. Should you even critique what you didn't prepare? Maybe I should ask that question.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. So, we have art critics, we have film critics. They don't make movies, they don't make art. But what they have is the knowledge of, and it's subjective knowledge, I must add, but they have the knowledge of what makes art work, what makes movies work. So the same principle applies to food critics.
No. If you talk about...
But that's just the principle behind what they do.
Yeah, basically. Yes,
that's the principle.
If you talk of art, I understand art.
But art is also subjective.
Art is subject to varying interpretations.
Same with
Right?
food.
Yeah,
and that's the point I'm making. I'm drawing that parallel.
The point is, and which is something that people do consistently, and I've seen that over a period of time, and some malicious, especially in Nigeria, right, is you can critique, but you are open. Your criticism should be open-ended. That you have the right to critique does not mean that you enforce... I don't know how to couch these. There is a way you critique something with an objective mindset.
So let me cut in right there. You can't critique objectively. And that's the point I'm making.
And the point is, I don't... Why should you critique people's food and you say all sort of trash? You see, there's a difference between trashing a meal from critiquing a meal.
Okay, let's devolve the issue now into two parts.
Recently, it almost led to an ethnic dispute in Nigeria, and the videos are out there in Nigeria between someone who is from the western part, I don't want to mention names, of the country, critiquing a meal from the eastern part of the country. And you have, because these things are volatile turf that you don't want to, because it will look like you're trashing a particular, which is the point. And maybe I will just start mentioning names here.
Wait, relax first.
Right?
Relax first.
So
we are pursuing peace.
There is a place of, you're critiquing for people. There is a way you would critique. And I said you can critique subjectively. There's a way you critique something, and people will know that you are objective about this, right? And it is in the choice of language that you would use, right? And people will know that this is critiquing a meal and not trash talking.
Okay, so I wanted us to.
So we need to establish
I wanted
that.
us to devolve the issue into
Yes.
two parts.
Yes.
So the first part is, are food critics even meant to be objective? Everyone has biases and everyone has preferences. So the thing there is having the technical knowledge, knowing what works for certain kinds of food and what doesn't work. And Emmanuel, you said something earlier that these people have trained their palate.
Yeah.
Of course, they have their own likes and dislikes, no doubt.
Yeah.
And when they're critiquing, whether we like it or not, they are weighing everything against those likes and dislikes. But that's just one part of it. Now, this instance that Emmanuel just mentioned in terms of the tribal connotation behind it is just a Nigerian thing. And let me explain what I mean by that. So people would always be quick to attach the tribal sentiment to practically
course.
every issue
We're
Of
almost
course.
done.
that we discuss. So it's not so much about where the food was made or the fact that the critique was from a particular location. I mean, we can't come from everywhere, to be frank. The food critic rather, would definitely come from a particular part of town, if I can put it that way. So the point I'm making with this is, saying that a food critic should be objective is already cancelling the point. You can't be objective. That's one. Now, when I say you can't be objective, can you analyze it technically? Can you bring out faults? Yes, maybe the language might be harsh and, the language might be a bit
the
strong.
language should not be harsh.
That's where I'm going. So
Yeah.
there's a part where you can be moderate with the language so that people will get the message and
Of
not
course.
be distracted and start attacking the messenger.
Of course.
I think that's equally important. So to your point, communicate your displeasure or dislike respectfully is fine. I don't think people would take it badly.
It shouldn't even be a displeasure.
But there
It
will
is-
be displeasure.
I have a
It is
lot to
not-
say
it
on
is-
this
It is
anyway.
not.
Yes.
It shouldn't be a displeasure, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's a displeasure, then you might be emotionally attached, and by that, it then means that you cannot objectively say, or whatever it is, you can even blow things out of proportion.
Emmanuel,
At the end of the day.
do you watch cooking shows? Because
No, I
trust
don't
me,
care. I don't care whether
the process of elimination is very harsh. I
No,
can
I'm
assure
not
you.
I'm not talking about maybe watching cooking shows and everything.
No, it's all about
That
critiquing
is-
food. That's why I'm bringing that up.
Critiquing the food doesn't make it bad. That your taste, but that you don't like the taste, or certain things that have been done doesn't make it bad.
Okay, so look at
And
it
then
this way.
you cannot then come and say this is bad based on your own criteria.
Okay, I'll quickly chip in because I know Emmanuel has a lot to say about
I
this,
have
but
so
I'll
much
quickly
to say,
chip in.
yeah.
Sometimes when chefs put things together, there might be technical inaccuracies. It's
Yeah.
the food critic's job to bring out those technical inaccuracies. So your premise is that people who prepare food will always do it correctly, and that's not always the case. So what the food critic does, he may offend the person's sensibility because guess what? Every creator is attached to their art. So I can't, if I cook something and you tell me, oh, this is not well seasoned, you need to watch those shows where they will tell you, oh, the salt is, it's too salty here. This one has a tangy flavor that it shouldn't have. This one is this one shouldn't be sweet. This should be savory. Of course, there will be some kind of, oh my goodness, this person
Yeah.
is offending. So it's natural. But the point is, those are technical issues that just need to be corrected.
Okay, Emmanuel.
So, in fact, I'm holding myself not to rip.
As we begin to, yeah.
But
yes.
basically, I want to
Go
put
on.
this. I want to put this on two levels.
All right.
So, I believe food critics deserve to stay in the wing of fine dining because fine dining is niche.
It is. Yes.
You're going there, you know what you want to taste in your caviar, you know what you want to mix with your salmon, you know all of that. Now, there's also the angle where we see, we're in Lagos, for example, there are so many food vendors, so many restaurants. The thing is, I feel some certain form of rage
Okay.
where I'm coming to your restaurant to pay money
Okay.
and you serve me uncooked beef or undercooked beef or undercooked rice, for example. Like, this is something you say is a business. You are going into it for profit making. Like, you have to get it right. And she said something that is very important and very key about the technicality, about everything that comes together in making a meal. It's pretty much like alchemy. It's pretty much like alchemy that you can quantify everything. And you know the number one law of alchemy is law of equivalent exchange, where you can actually quantify everything.
Yeah.
Like alchemy believes that everything can be quantified. So I know I want to make egusi soup. I know the right portion of melon seeds to use, the right level of leaves, stockfish. I know the ones that are must-haves. I know the ones that are optional.
Yes.
Now, when you curate all of this, it has to come to what we generally accept as egusi soup. But when you make something that feels like small chops inside oil, I would be upset. Because I'm coming to pay money. Now, this is different from when I visit you and you offer this to me. The narrative is different because I would not come as a critique and scream that, oh no, I've seen this better, I've tasted this better. I know I've tasted it better, but would I tell you? No. Most likely at that point, because I don't want to maybe hurt your feelings. Yes, overall, I could chip it in later on and be like, okay, we should try. That's another thing. We should try this place because they have good egusi. When you, the creator of that meal, tastes that one, you now understand that, okay, there are some tweaks I need to make to mine.
Serious.
So it's just that,
That's right.
like I said, I believe, just so we don't flog this issue, I believe food critics deserve to be with fine dining. Because fine dining, everybody there knows what their palate wants to just feel. Or is this sweet? Is this savory? Is this sour? Is it tangy?
Yes.
They know what they want.
Yes.
When you shift it to now, in this case, where it's now almost causing like an ethnic war, I mean, take for example, you go to the East, you eat abacha. Nothing in abacha is cooked. It's just a mixture, a collage of everything.
Yes.
You can't
Absolutely.
typically compare that to a meal prepared in the North that is cooked from scratch, like cooked and served hot. So already the basis of comparison is not now on the same pedestal. So you have to now be careful. But again, I understand your rage with food critics and how they don't look at it in that line. They just look at it across board. Oh, I had this meal here and it didn't bang. Oh, I had this meal here and it banged. And no, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Right. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the point. And just to clarify, I'm not saying do critique. I'm saying draw the line between critiquing and being emotional. There are standards. In every industry, there are standards. And you can use the standard within the culinary space to judge whatever it is that you're eating. But be mindful of the kind of language, the choice of words that you use. That, again, mutual respect is also very important. And being tolerant is also key for a peaceful society to exist.
Absolutely.
I don't want to fight with a guardian because of their. And by the way, I think sometimes last year, and I'm going to put you on the spot.
Really?
Lola traveled to. Lola was in Ghana and she said their jollof rice is better than Nigerian. To our viewers out there,
I'm waiting for the comments.
Please know that this is what Lola.
But guess what?
You can come for her.
It doesn't make you less of a Nigerian if you go somewhere and you find something.
And to the Ghanaian listeners,
like.
I think that the Ghanaian listeners should also applaud you for that. I remember that conversation. Sometimes last year, right?
Yeah, it was last year. But I think the thing there is, again, to your point, let's not get emotional about things.
Yes.
I can be a Nigerian and like something from another place. It doesn't make me less of a Nigerian. I think where people get it wrong is where they start to attach that to a sense of not being...
It's not being patriotic.
Tied to exactly where you come from and all that.
And then you insist on your...
There are Nigerians who prefer
Ghanaian
jollof.
Yeah, you can insist on your meal because that is your own preference, and which is the reason why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's been a very, very robust... robustive or... It's been a very robust
Emmanuel, after
conversation.
this, go and eat.
So it's been a very robust conversation, and I think that there's one or two things that our listeners or our viewers out there have been able to pick from this. From me is the ability to tolerate people, the choices and preferences also very, very, very key. And Jamin, It's very important. Just before we wind down, anything that you would like to add?
Any
Well,
comments?
it was amazing being here,
Yeah.
first and foremost.
Yes.
And maybe
Awesome
we'll
to
bring
have
you
you.
back. We'll bring you
This was
back for something else.
facts.
Yeah, so,
Yes,
yeah, I
yes,
mean,
yes.
like I said,
This should be, you guys should be the right
Actually, after this show, Emmanuel
Food.
and I are going to talk about some
Food-
food-related
food-
things.
the
Yes.
food critique that we
Please
should
drop
have.
that
in
knuckle
this-
again.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you guys should be the true food critique we should have in
please,
time.
I
Because
Emmanuel,
I've spent
learn
time
from
with
Emmanuel.
you.
I just,
I've spent some time with
I
you
just
guys,
want to
and I
eat
fully
food.
understand.
I mean, there's usually the joke I tell people where when they ask me if I'm on a diet, and I tell them my diet is seafood diet.
Oh.
I see food and I eat food.
See, not the
Oh,
seafood
seafood.
diet.
Nice,
Seafood
nice,
diet.
nice.
Wow.
Yeah, but like
That's
I
a quote.
said, yeah, it was amazing being here. And the concept about this, let's not forget, is just that it's tied to our
Wow.
it's tied to our own individuality as a society. We know that we've been put on the map severally for good reasons because
Yes.
of the clout around our jollof rice, for example. People that didn't know about Nigeria just for a meal
Yeah.
came to Nigeria, explored, saw that there were other beautiful things in
Yes,
Nigeria, even
yes.
besides the meal. That was just so we can't take away the socio-economical importance of conversations like this. Then also the point of mutual respect, where
Yes.
you have to just be a little tolerating, and mutual respect also in the case where I'll cite an example. You cannot in an office space go and microwave your ofada sauce. I mean, it kind of just would. It's not respectful. It's not demure. It's not mindful.
Not mindful.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
To
Because
your
of
colleaes,
the
you
aroma,
get so
right?
Yes.
that's where that whole
Oh,
respect
this table,
comes. Yeah,
this table.
don't worry about it. So it's just it's
Yeah.
an essential part of life, and I really would enjoin our listeners
Okay.
to just be conscious of these things.
Yeah.
Just in a case, be respectful. Yeah, you want to say something about the meal, just apply the necessary decorum. Be respectful. Don't outrightly trash it, because I mean emotions will get in place and
Yeah.
displaced, and that usually isn't good for anybody. But high and by, yeah, I think we
Yes.
did justice to this.
Lola?
And then, yeah, I think for me, the key takeaway, and Emmanuel has said a lot of what I align with. The truth is, when it comes to food, there is no right or wrong answer. Everybody is allowed to have their preferences. So it's not for us to judge and say, oh, mine is better than yours and all that. Yes, I can see all of that as banter, but we shouldn't take it beyond banter and turn it to personal issues. So we should definitely embrace our food. And yes, let's try and be adventurous. You know, my friends who go to the UK looking for amala, I'm talking to you. So
Oh, you should tell him he should be adventurous. He should be
Emmanuel,
adventurous.
My mantra-
sitting comfortably on that table.
My mantra: eat what you know and know what you
No,
eat.
that's
So
too sick.
if you are,
Man,
if
that's
you are
too
comfortable
sick.
with that, if you fall in my category,
You are in your
let's-
comfort zone. That's
Let's
the
form a
problem.
community and fight these two.
Yeah, please.
No,
The
you are in a
gentleman.
comfort zone. You know what they say about the comfort zone.
Right, so it is on
Nothing
this
grows.
note that we want to say a big thank you to all our listeners, viewers
Thank you.
out there.
Thank
and
you, thank you,
those
thank you,
who
thank you.
have subscribed to the channel. I
Thank
hope you
you.
find this topic very insightful, engaging, entertaining, as well as deriving one or two knowledge from that. And this is the reason why we are here.
Yes,
And this is the
yes.
reason why we are doing this for you. That at the end of the day, we are able to enlighten you. And there is something that you can pick from our videos. If you find this episode very interesting and engaging, kindly like. Share, drop a
Subscribe.
comment, and
Subscribe.
subscribe to the channel, because your subscription is what keeps us going. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.